ruined dreams, this wasted land. But most of all, I remember the road warrior. To understand who he was, you have to go back to another time, when the world was powered by the black fuel, and the desert sprouted great cities of pipe and steel. Gone now, swept away. Without fuel, they were nothing. They'd built a house of straw. The thundering machine sputtered and stopped. Their leaders talked and talked and talked. But nothing could stem the avalanche. Their world crumbled. The cities exploded. A whirlwind of looting. A firestorm of fear.
Today we're going to talk about peak oil. What is peak oil? And is it something that we need to be concerned about? What is peak oil? Peak oil is a theory that eventually we're going to hit the peak of oil production, and there's going to be a decline after that, which means we need to find alternatives. Currently, production levels for the last few years of crude oil have plateaued. Now there's two thoughts to what could create this. One, we're hitting a period of peak oil, which means that at some time in the near future we're going to see a decline. Or two, that oil producers are maintaining a steady supply to stabilize price at a level to which it maximizes their profits. They find that tolerance level that everyone will pay for that product, and they're going to maintain that supply of oil as long as that they can. So let's say we do hit a period of peak oil and we see a decline in the levels of crude oil that's available. The production levels decline. Now currently it's projected that the demand for oil and products derived from oil are going to steadily increase for several decades to come. This is because countries like India and China and other countries are modernizing, and they need the hydrocarbon fuels and the chemical oils to make the products to build their economies. So if we do see a decline and peak oil is a reality, then we're going to see prices significantly rise for oil. And that's going to put a damper on everyone's economy. It's going to actually slow things down. It could lead to conflicts, wars, things of that nature. There are just no alternatives to certain types of fuel. Jet fuel, diesel fuel. These fuels drive the global economy. Large trucks and airplanes have to run on hydrocarbon fuels because their propulsion systems utilize those certain chemical compounds, and currently there are no alternative propulsion systems that can give the power output. So when we start talking about peak oil, we're actually talking about a decline in the lifeblood of the global economy. So in order to be prepared for that, we need to seek out other alternatives to maintain the production of these types of fuels and chemicals, because there really are no alternatives to certain types of hydrocarbon fuels. So, how do we protect ourselves against peak oil? Well, there's a couple ways that we could battle against that plateau. If we really are in a period of peak oil and production is going to maintain that steady level and eventually decline, we need to have some alternatives. We need to have some backup solutions for that. Second way to battle against that is to show oil producers that we're serious about these alternatives, to make them reconsider their production levels, so that way that they'll increase it, thus lowering the price and creating a more affordable and stable market. We need to find alternatives and bring these solutions to the table to either bring the prices down from this plateau and have the supply go up, or to be prepared so if we are hitting peak oil and we start to see that decline, we already have the safeguards in place to use alternatives and have alternative methods in place. Is your country able to sustain itself with its production methods and the resources it has in case there is a global situation to where there's not enough, there's a shortage of crude oil and there's not enough? So as we move forward, and if we see peak oil actually come to fruition, we're going to need to have fallback production methods and refineries that use alternative feedstocks to maintain the production of some of these chemicals and some of these fuels. regardless if there's peak oil or not, there's going to be a demand for crude oil. And production levels already plateaued and steadied, but there's going to be an increased demand. That increase in demand is going to drive up prices. The fact that we need to look into alternatives to safeguard ourselves against peak oil in case it is a reality, or to also create an alternative in case it's more of a manipulation scenario.
Wherever a wheel turns or an engine throbs, we must have energy. And here is the end of another magic trail.